Ready?
Sure.
Today is Tuesday. I'm next to Kevin. Kevin, I know in about 7 days. And give or take, Kevin said to me, Arnold, I want to be of service to you. And he says, what do you need? I said, I need this place to be clean. And Kevin says, no problem, I will clean this place. So he started yesterday at 9:30, stopped at 8:30. 11 hours. 11 hours, my place was pretty clean. Then he sat there today, just waiting. Man, this guy needs something to do. So I put him back to work again. And then as he's working, I overhear one word, two words. Depression and raw food. And actually died. Okay, I want to explain your story about depression, raw food, and God.
My story is this. I was raised in a Judeo-Christian understanding of spiritual truth. As I became an adult, I started to explore different avenues for relating as an individual to spiritual truth. And that included Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Shinto, Islam, and every other major world religion that I can get my hands on to see how people of different cultures related to truth. Throughout this experience, I was struggling with substance abuse, psychological abuse that had happened to me, and abuse that I had taken on myself, from myself. Thoughts that I held about myself, and thoughts that I thought other people held about me, which were really just thoughts. And I said to myself, well, if I'm going to start making any type of major life changes from an individual that does abuse alcohol, abuse marijuana, abuse psychedelics, abuse opiates, abuse uppers, and all downers, really. Pretty much every substance you could think of.
That you were depressed during this time.
I became depressed. There was moments of exuberance and like real Dionysian style of living where it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But it ends up feeling really empty and meaningless when you start to wonder what's going to happen after the life experience ends, and you start to really lose a flavor for it because, or I started to lose a flavor for it because I became jaded. Experiences no longer really brought the same excitement that they did in the initial parts of it. So I said to myself, well, I got to start instituting some major changes and experimenting with different ways of living. And I wanted to I gave up hard substances, transitioned into just smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol minimally, smoking marijuana minimally. At that point, I was vegan outside of being a consumer of eggs. And then I went through another difficult transition where a woman broke up with me, and it really hurt because I was trying to build a life with her. But I said to myself, well, it's time to make a major change. And I went fully vegan. And then in the past year, I met another woman who's really wonderful, and she and I become very close friends. And she was a raw foodist and professed a lot of the knowledge that Arnold has shared through his books, The Way of Arnold. Being the one that really, really influenced me to experiment with like 100% raw foods, and then I've transitioned into like pulling back from that a little bit just because of heightened sensitivity that was difficult for me to deal with. I'm looking forward to eventually going back to 100% raw, hopefully. But right now, being right around 90% raw, between 90 and 100% raw from day to day.
And that got rid of your depression.
It lightened up the weight that I was feeling from doing what I knew from witnessing other people who had gone to 80+% raw food diet, feeling so well, and the biggest part of it, outside of like the cellular health that an individual gets from eating 80+% raw, is the feeling of not eating your emotions, because I struggled with the raw foods part at first because I felt like, well, it's not as savory. It doesn't really light up the areas of my brain that are related to taste pleasure. But then after meeting my friend, Carissa, who is apprenticing with Arnold right now to learn how to be a raw food chef, I learned to appreciate that raw foods can really be savory and more complex if you learn how to prepare them the correct way, which Arnold does at his space, The Way of Arnold. And I'm just really enjoying right now being a active person who will testify to the benefits of an 80% plus raw foods diet to alleviate depression, because you don't eat your emotions once you stop, and the cellular benefit is there, and the spiritual benefit is there, and the psychological and emotional stability is there, and it's really...
You would recommend this lifestyle to anybody with depression? Were you on any medication, Marla?
No.
Now you feel so much better?
Now I feel so much better.
Oh, yay!
Combination of spiritual centered in service to my
A higher power?
higher power, and even if you don't believe in a higher power, and you have secular...
Yeah, eating raw food is not enough.
For me, it's not enough.
I agree with that.
Not enough. I have to find. I have to feel like I am using my energy towards greater good, a collective consciousness, ahimsa. You know, me doing for myself is not hurting you or the cameraman or Arnold or the world. It's got to be completely nonviolent, and raw foods is as close to that as you're going to get.
Anyway, this is live from Arnold's Way with Kevin, the best cleaner ever. And now we're going to teach him new things. How to wash floors good. Bye. Let's give you a hug. Yay!